Now, something very different from our Jim Gaffigan. A story about his wife, Jeannie. Serious, personal, and loving.
Over the past couple of years, I've had the opportunity to do humorous commentaries here on CBS Sunday Morning. They've all been universally adored. Okay, not universally adored. Through these commentaries, I think you've learned something about me. I like food. I have too many children, and I married a woman way out of my league. Today, I'd like to talk about that woman, that special woman who has horrible taste in men. My wife, Jeannie, is a force of nature. She is not only my life partner and the mother of my 5 young children, she is also my co-writer of 7 comedy specials.
When I go out to eat, if I order a salad, the waiter's always like, "Aww."
2 New York Times bestsellers, and was even the executive producer of The Jim Gaffigan Show.
Who wants some mac and cheese?
To summarize, Jeannie does everything. She is the executive producer of our family. And until April of 2017, her life was pretty much perfect.
5 kids.
5 kids.
6, if you include you.
Married to a really good-looking guy. And then what happened?
Well, I was at a pediatric visit for my kids, and when my doctor was speaking to me, I turned my head and I asked her to repeat what she was saying, and she was like, "What's wrong with your ear?" And I'm like, "Oh, I can't hear out of it." And she's like, when did that start happening? So she sent me to a ear, nose, and throat doctor, and that's when the MRI revealed that I had, like 30 seconds to live.
The doctor told us one of those things people pray they never have to hear. Jeannie had a brain tumor. What was your first reaction? Where you were like, game over?
No, I mean, I don't think I was like game over. Something just happened where I just was like, okay, let's figure out how to get this out of my head.
So the more you think about it and the more you talk about it, the higher are the stakes.
And in what felt like moments, Jeannie and I found ourselves here in the office of Dr. Joshua Betterson, head of neurosurgery at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City.
This instantly became clear this was a very high stakes situation for you, because this is what I first saw, which is a huge tumor. There's just no other descriptor, which really was stunning to me because you were functioning at an extraordinary level.
And so what causes these brain tumors? It wouldn't be like an annoying husband that would cause these brain tumors.
A little bit. That's a part of it, right?
Yeah, it's
What
a
causes
major
it?
part, right.
What I'm saying, it's not my fault, right? It's not my fault
That would
at
be
all.
hard to totally conclude.
Okay, so Dr. Betterson doesn't know the origin of the pear-shaped tumor, but thankfully he did know how to get it out. The surgery took 10 hours. It was a success. The tumor was benign. Still, Jeannie wasn't out of the dark yet. First, Jeannie suffered from a life-threatening pneumonia, and because of the tumor's location, some cranial nerves had been compromised, inhibiting her ability to breathe on her own or swallow. She couldn't eat or drink anything for an indefinite period.
Every time I would wake up and I would see that machine with the yellow gunk going into my nose, I was like, I can't believe I'm here. It was just like, it was really difficult for me. But if I could just, when I would tap into my faith, I would see the big picture. That I knew that there was a reason for this to happen to me. But when I wasn't in touch with my faith, it was like too much for me to bear.
After weeks in the intensive care unit, Jeannie finally came home, still unable to eat or drink. The kids and I attempted to make the harsh reality of Jeannie's feeding tube bearable.
America's favorite feeding tube show, which is tube-tacular.
Was there a moment when you're going through this process where you looked at me and you're like, I gotta live just because this guy's, he can write some good jokes, but I don't know if he can be a single dad.
I mean, there was a little bit of the feeling of, because I had taken on the role of being like, oh, don't worry, I'll do
Yeah.
the schedule and I'll do the whatever.
Yeah.
I felt like when they were wheeling me into surgery, I was like, my password on my computer is this, and Fresh Direct, this is how you order the groceries. I was like, oh my gosh, he doesn't know any of this stuff.
I still don't know most of that stuff. And thankfully, I don't have to.
How would you sum up your experience in 2 sentences? One word, use one word. No, how would you summarize what you went through?
Mom interrupted.
Mom interrupted.
No, I would summarize it by saying that sometimes you need like a big reminder to realize how grateful you are to be alive and for your life. And it just, for me, it happened to be a massive pear-sized brain tumor on my cranial nerves.
So what does a mother of 5 young children who's survived a pear-shaped brain tumor do when she finally gets back on her feet and finally can actually eat? Well, my Jeannie wrote a book about that experience, When Life Gives You Pears. She also started a youth group organization that combines youth groups throughout the city. Frankly, it seems like she's kind of showing off now. Occasionally, I'll get a text from Jeannie that'll simply say, I love you. It's nice to receive it, but I'm also reminded of how grateful I am that she's still here and that my children still have a mother and that our family still has an executive producer. Because if you've watched this show, you could tell I'd be a horrible single father.